Hi, I'm Lauren from LSP Actions, and I'm going to show you how you can achieve this beautifully soft and warm dynamic storytelling edit in Photoshop using the LSP Light Chronicles Photoshop Action set. And that is available as part of the Sentimental Storyteller Collection at www.lsp-actions.com. So let's dive in with the edit here. First of all, you need to make sure you have your Light Chronicles Photoshop Actions loaded into Photoshop, and preferably like this on button mode. If you're not sure of how to get them into Photoshop or how these sections work, please do watch the overview video where I go into real detail about it. I'm just going to dive straight in with the edit, assuming you've watched that video or you're familiar with my other LSP actions, because these work much the same. So I'm going to click here, play the new merge layer, because I'm going to fix this little blob of whatever it is, baked beans, on his t-shirt. Come up here to where the spot healing brush tool is and select the patch tool. Draw around the area you wish to fix, and you can play the LSP select and fix action, which is included here as a bonus. Or you can clone, you can drag, you can fix that in your own way. I'm also going to create another merge layer, and I'm just going to deal with the shine. It was so warm. This was in Spain in the height of the summer, and if he wasn't in the pool, he was reading books at this table. And I'm just going to clone out these slight shiny patches here. But I love the tousled hair. I want to leave everything else exactly as it is. So I'm going to flatten down now and carry on with the edit. So I'm going to choose Set the Scene Base. This is where you balance your image ready for the edit, so you don't dive straight in with editing the skin, with adding the warmth, with adding that dynamic feel. Balance the image out first by using these layers here that can be set up for you, or you can click each one and play them individually. The Set the Scene layers, each one has a white layer mask, and you can change the opacity of this layer. So I'm going to show you here. You can turn it on or off and change the opacity. So for example, Shadow Rescue, let's turn that on, and if you wanted to, it's on 25% opacity, you can turn that up and it will turn the strength up. So I'm just going to go through these and turn them on. I don't wish to take the yellows down because I want a nice warm edit, so I'm happy with that. You can go ahead and close the group once you're happy. All I did was turn them on. The next section, Sculpt the Light, I'm going to click Play Them All, and again this is going to set up a group with a multitude of layers above my background, but instead of being turn on or off layers, these ones are paintbrush layers. So a white brush is going to be selected for me. Make sure your brush settings are on 100% opacity and 25% flow. It needs to be a nice, normal, soft white brush. And the first layer that's selected here is the Draw Attention brush. You can use this to begin drawing attention into the face or any other area of your image where you want the eye to fall, the story part of your image. So I've just brightened his face up a little bit. And now doing the exact opposite, we have the Softly Darken brush. I'm going to make my brush nice and big, and I'm just going to softly darken around the edges here. I do want to darken the background as well. And next up is the Sharp brush. I'm going to use this on his face, just to sharpen up these areas here. Darken more. You can use this one if the original Softly Darken wasn't enough for you. So I'm going to use this to bring back some of this detail here in the window behind. Because I've got a reflection underneath, I can't forget to work on the reflection too. Soft brush, I'm going to use this behind. It's nicely blurred in the camera, so I don't need to worry about blurring anything. I'm just going to soften down a little bit. Contrast, I'm going to use this over the skin and the face. Softly brighten. Just pop that over the face too. Brighten more, and highlights down. I'm not sure I need to use that though. I may use the highlights down on the face here for this shiny area. May as well also use it a little more here for these very bright areas. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close that group, turn it on and off, so we can see we're really starting to sculpt the light now and hone the attention into the subject. Divine Blur, I don't need to play Divine Blur, but if you want to know how this one works, you can watch the Pickles and the Pup edit or the Velveteen Rabbit edit. So now we're on to Dreamy Skin. I'm going to click Play Them All again. You don't have to play them all as a multi-layer base. You can select each one and click them to build up your own order of editing. If you want to go in for the skin, and then perhaps lift the shadows, and perhaps the bright eyes, all you need to do is click. But I like this option here of Play Them All because it sets them up as a group for me. And I can simply go in, as before, as just a second ago, with the Sculpt the Light brushes. I can just go in with a soft white brush set to 100% opacity and 25% flow, and I can just go straight in and paint them on. So the first one selected down here is the Painterly Silk Skin. So let me just zoom in a touch, grab the white brush, 100% opacity, 25% flow, and I'm going to go in, and you'll see this makes a beautiful glowing portrait skin effect. That really suits the style of heavy dynamic editing that we're doing today. So I'm avoiding the eyes. In fact, I'm going to come up here onto the sharp details, and I'm going to sharpen the eyes up and these areas of hair here to really start picking those details out. Bright eyes. I'd recommend only using this one for the iris and not the full eye, because you want to keep kind of the eyes from looking like alien eyes if you can help it. So now I'm on the darken brush. I'm going to use this just to this area here to start creating separation. Brighten the face, let's give that a pop. 3D contrast, why not? Delectable Sharpen. So this is why I like playing the Play Them All base, because they all just come here that I can just click about and paint on. Calm the skin tone. I'm going to use this a little bit. If your skin looks a little bit much, you can use that to calm it down. So I'm going to close that, turn it on or off, and that's the Dreamy Skin and Details brushes. And now we're down to the Whimsical Wash section. We can play these to really bring this image into its own now. You can play them all. This will flatten your image first, so make sure you're happy with the edit. If not, you might want to go ahead and save, but it will also take us a snapshot of your layer panel so far and pop it in the history panel if you need to go back to it. So let's try the Nook to begin with. You can just randomly click about on these and try them. You may find the perfect combination for your image. You may want to play them all, and you may love all of them together. So I like the Nook, but it's taken the contrast a little down on his face, and I think I want a rather dynamic one for this one, so I'm just going to brush some of the Nook off his face there. Let's add some real warmth into this one with Extra Warm Evening. Lovely. Again, I'm just going to lightly dab that off the face. So that's before and after with Extra Warm Evening. Let's try a third for luck. How about Nut Butter? Yeah, I really like how that one's come out. We could try one more for luck. How about Brown Sugar? This is a personal favourite of mine. But not sure, let's turn that up a little bit there. What I may do is use the black brush. It always selects the black brush for you, and use that just to paint off a little bit around here. So far we've used the Set the Scene base, turn these on, Sculpt the Light, we've painted them on, Dreamy Skin, painted those on, and then the Whimsical Washes, we played the Nook, painted it off the face a little, Extra Warm Evening again off the face a touch, Nut Butter and Brown Sugar. And now we're into the enhancement section. I love the Sunbeams action. You'll see me use this one a lot in my editing. I just love the Sunbeams effect for an image like this. If you get down to the bottom and you feel like, you'd rather carry on editing and missing something, you can always go back up and edit a little more. For example, you could add another Whimsical Wash. Let's just click one of these. You can even go right to the beginning and you can play all of them. The actions can mix and match throughout. They're all adjustable, they're all editable. So you can completely let your creativity run away on this edit. So I really like the effect of burnished glow. I think that one has worked really nicely over the top. And I'm happy with this edit. The last thing I'm going to do is add a texture using the add a texture action down here in the enhancements section. So I'm going to click on this. This will open up your folders. You need to locate the texture folder, choose your texture, so hit continue, and locate the LSP narrative textures or any other textures that you'd like to use on your image on your computer. It's really important that you've unzipped the textures first. So if the textures look like this in a zip file, on Windows you're going to need to extract them first, or on a Mac you need to use Archive Utility. Ideally do that upon download, not at this point in the edit, but you can still do it in the edit. If you double click this zip file once you're in Photoshop, Photoshop won't recognise it as a texture file, so it's going to come up with an error message. So make sure they're unzipped like this in a normal folder. So I'm going to choose a texture to add to this image. Let's go for Captivate and hit place. The texture will appear as a solid layer over your image here, so you can resize this roughly and hit enter. And now it's going to become transparent, so you'll see the texture effect in all its glory. So there we can see the texture over the image. So hit enter again, resize if you're happy at that point. And this will add a white layer mask next to the texture, and you can use a black brush, a big black brush, to paint this away from your subject. I'd especially make sure you paint the texture off of the skin if you can. So I've just made that brush a little bit smaller just to paint off the skin there. In fact, I'll leave it on the reflection because it looks good. So that's before and after, adding a simple texture in. So let's take a look at before and after. Turn the layers off by clicking on the little eyes here. So we played the set the scene layers to balance the image out, ready for our edit. And then we painted on using Sculpt the Light brushes, and then painting the dreamy skin and detail brushes. And then the whimsical washes went for the Nook, Extra Warm Evening and Nut Butter. Painted these ones off the skin a little bit there. Brown Sugar. And then in the enhancement section, played Sunbeams, darkened the edges, added some painterly contrast and a touch of contrast from the final art layers section. Went back up to whimsical and added the burnished glow, which I actually really love, although I think I'm going to paint that one off the face just a little bit, a bit pink. And then we added a texture around the edges, mainly the LSP Captivate texture there. And that edit is using the Light Chronicles Photoshop Action Suite, available at www.lsp-actions.com as part of the Sentimental Storyteller Collection. I'm Lauren, thanks for watching.